Hey everybody, Patrick Bennett here. I'm starting this new little podcast spinoff of the PopNinja Podcast, and this is called PopNinja Popcorn Kernels. And it's just a little small tidbit information I'm going to be giving about movies and stuff like that. It could be anything, comic books, movies, television shows, anything from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. It's just something real short that I've been wanting to do for a while. On this first episode, I want to talk about Swamp Thing, a movie that I really love. And it came out in 1982, and it was directed by Wes Craven, the guy that brought us the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And it also starred Ray Wise. He played Dr. Alec Holland, who becomes the Swamp Thing. And it also starred stuntman actor Dick Durock, who plays Swamp Thing once he transforms into the creature. And I actually met Dick Durock in Dallas one time. Great guy. You've probably seen him a lot of times on just about any television show you watched in the 70s and 80s. He shows up. He was a big Hollywood stuntman at the time. So anytime you have a brawl going on, it could be the A-Team, Knight Rider. It could be on, Adam 12. It could be just about any show you could think of, Rockford Files. He showed up, and he's usually getting beat up, or he's like a henchman trying to capture the heroes. And I'll tell you what, he had a little speaking role in one show that you might really remember, Stand By Me, the Stephen King movie. If you remember the scene where the character Lardass enters the pie eating contest and he throws up all over the lumberjack guy, well, Dick Durock was the lumberjack guy. So you see him in that movie. And also, if you ever saw the Incredible Hulk episode where there was an older guy that was the first Hulk, and he and Lou Ferrigno's Hulk have to fight, well, Dick Durock was that old Hulk. I got to meet him and got his autograph on a Swamp Thing picture. And the movie also starred the beautiful, bodacious Adrienne Barbeau. She was a government agent in this movie, and she was assigned to the project that Dr. Holland was working on with his sister out in the swamp. So she kind of gets tangled up in this violence once the villain, played by Louis Jourdan, who played the villain named Arcane, shows up to steal the formula. Well, anyway, Dr. Holland gets doused with this formula that they're making, and it explodes on him, and he's on fire, and he runs, dives into the water, and later comes up as Swamp Thing. This serum that had been inventing, this formula serum thing, transforms him into a plant-like creature. He still has the mind of Alec Holland, but he has the body of a swamp plant monster. He's very strong, and he's got regenerative properties. Like in one scene, they cut his arm off and later it grows back. It's like kind of like a lizard, but he's very strong, and he's a force to be reckoned with. And this is a DC comic character come to life on the big screen, And as a kid, in the early 80s and maybe 70s, whenever the comic started, I was reading Swamp Thing comics before the movie came out. So when I found out it was going to be made into a movie, I was all excited about this. All right. Okay, I want to share a funny story with you. And I shared it on our podcast before, but I rewatched the movie recently, and it just reminded me of this. And I was thinking about it on Mother's Day. I was thinking about my mom, who passed away last year. But one of my memories with my mom is from the movie Swamp Thing. She took me to the theater in 1982. I was probably in 7th grade, maybe, as teenager. And we went to a doctor's appointment. She got me out of school, and we went to a doctor's appointment. And afterwards, she took me anywhere I wanted to go eat. So I picked a Mexican restaurant, and we were in the town of Lake Charles, Louisiana. And she said, anything I want to do after that? I said, yeah, let's go to a movie. So we stopped by and grabbed the newspaper, because back then you had no internet. You couldn't look up movie times on the computer or on a cell phone, because there are no cell phones, no computer, no internet. So you had to stop by and get a newspaper and flip through to the entertainment section, and the theaters would be listed there, and it would show all their screening times for that for that day or that week. So anyway, we got a paper, looked it up, and boom, Swamp Thing. I'd already seen the trailers, and I was wanting to see it, so we found a time that we could go, and we went to. I remember it was an old theater in Lake Charles that was sweet. It was called the Pit Theater, and it was I think it had maybe two screens. It wasn't that big of a theater, but it did have a balcony, which was kind of cool back then. And we got our popcorn, our drinks, and we went and sat in there and could not wait to see this movie. I remember everything about it. The colors, that bright green and the dark green, and from the serum and from the costume and the cool costume, the swamp scenery. Growing up in Southwest Louisiana, we were surrounded by swamps. So I think that was a big appeal for this character, this DC comic character for me, was that's where I grew up. So he was more, I don't know, I could relate more to him than, Batman or Superman, because this was something that could, in my mind, I could actually see out in the swamps, when I was fishing with my dad or something, looking around for Swamp Thing. And the swamps are so beautiful with the cypress trees and covered with Spanish moss and the flowers and stuff, and alligators and birds and all kind of water and land creatures that inhabit the swamps. So that was very appealing to me for to see in this movie. But I gotta tell you, the funny part I wanted to get to is, okay, if you know anything about this movie, Adrienne Barbeau is topless in this movie. All right. Now here I am, probably about 13 years old, and my mom's taking me to see this movie. And this is my first movie that I'd ever went to that had nudity in it. All right. And I don't think my mom was expecting it because it was a PG movie. And but yeah, and it wasn't a quick shot of nudity. It was several, probably several shots that made up a big scene in the movie. And it was Adrienne Barbeau, and throughout the movie, she's going through a lot of violence, getting shot at and beat up, and she's in the dirt road, and she's scratched and cut and just filthy and grungy. And after Swamp Thing rescues her, and she's kind of under his protection in the swamp, she decides to go into the swamp and bathe and get rid of all this grime and dirt and everything else. And I mean, the shot, I mean, she's in the water, and the water is up to, her boobs are above water. And if you know Adrienne Barbeau, she's got some pretty big tatas there, And as a 13-year-old kid seeing this scene, and it wasn't quick. I mean, she's bathing and stretching and wading around in the water, and you see them all in their glory. And as a 13-year-old kid, I think that my eyes are like bugging out. You see those cartoons with the wolf with the wolf whistle and his eyes pop out,
I want a diamond ring, I want some bracelets and everything.
I think my jaw and tongue dropped to the floor, and I'm just staring at this. I'd be a 13-year-old kid. This is the greatest movie experience I've ever had, seeing that. And I know, I'm sitting there with my mom. So, and I'll tell you, I don't know what was going through her head, but she did not look at me at all. I kind of expected her to reach out and cover my eyes, but she did not look at me for 1 second. And and it's a good thing, because I wanted to see this, man. I was totally entertained by it. But I mean, now as an adult and as a father, I'm looking back, I'm thinking, man, she was probably shocked and didn't know what to do, and was probably embarrassed, And I'm sure when she got home, she told my dad and my grandparents and my aunt and all of them about it, And I mean, my dad probably wanted to go see it, I don't know. But yeah, that was exciting times. You better believe when I got back to school the next day, I was telling all my friends about that scene, and they got to go see it, But yeah, I've seen it several times over the years, but not just for that. I mean, yeah, when I was a kid, that was probably the big reason. But I watch it because I like the movie, I like the character, I like the costumes, I like the swamp, like I've been talking about. But anyway, if you ever get a chance to see it, it's an incredible movie. It's got a good story to it. But what I've heard from different sources is that the original script was one of the most incredible scripts ever written, but a bunch of it had to be cut out because of budget constraints. There's no way they could have filmed it. So the actual thing we saw on the screen was not the version that was originally intended by the script writer. So I would love to get a copy of the original script. I've asked screenwriters that I know if they could find it in any of the marts they, frequent where they have scripts and that they can download and that, but none of them can find an original copy. They can only find the one that was the final copy used for the filming. So I never can find that story, and I've been searching for decades for it. So if you know where to find that original screenplay or have one, send it to me or send me the details because I would love to check it out. And something I would also like, I don't know if I could 3D print one or find somebody on Etsy making it or something, but I would like a life-size bust of this character, not the comic book or the different iterations of Swamp Thing, but from this movie, the look of that character, Dick Durock in the makeup and the prosthetics. I want a life-size bust of that, life-size, to put in my apartment. That would be so cool to have, and I would love it. I'd also like a 12-inch action figure, statue or something of Dick Durock as Swamp Thing. That would be cool too. So if somebody knows where something like that is, hook me up, or if you got a free 3D print file, send it to me. I'd like to make one myself. But anyway, I'll tell you the comic book at the time. I remember after the movie came out, the Swamp Thing on-running comic had a cover that showed the movie version character, live character on the cover. And that was really cool. I still have it somewhere. I'd like to find it. But that's probably about all I have to say about Swamp Thing. If you've never seen Swamp Thing from 1982, watch it. I think you'll be impressed by it for the time and the story and the effects and everything. It's a fun movie. It's a comic book movie, so it's got that cheesy action from 80s comic movies, I think you really enjoy it, so go check it out. And with that said, there was a sequel that came out a few years later, and they updated the costume, and it looked a lot better, but the movie was not nearly as good. The movie was like over the top, way too cheesy. I mean, Heather Locklear co-starred in it, and they brought back Louis Jourdan as Arcane, and Dick Durock played the character again. I enjoyed some of the movie, but it wasn't quite on par with the original. So I really suggest watching that original. And also, Swamp Thing had a series in the late 80s, early 90s. I can't remember the exact date, but it was 2 seasons, and Dick Durock reprised the character once again in the costume, and did a great job. As a fantastic series. And I remember in the late 80s, early 90s, they filmed this series at, was it Universal Studios in Florida? And they had the set there, and you could go and tour it. They had the Cajun style swamp cabin out in like a swamp area that they built, and you could go see it, and you could go walk through the swamp and everything. And I did that, and they had it there for a few years. And after the series wrapped and everything, they ended up tearing it down and building something else for the studios. But it was cool that I got to see it. And I'm going to have to dig out some old pictures and share them with you, and pictures from when I met Dick Durock, that's for sure. But anyway, if you have any experiences with this movie or have some trivia about it or something you want to talk about, hit me up in the comments and let me know, and we'll address anything you want to talk about. So, but thanks for joining us. Thanks for joining me. Lisa's not with me in this. I'm kind of doing this solo, Han Solo, right? And join me again for the next Popcorn Kernels, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Now my trust in Wes Craven is vindicated. Swamp Thing is a silly, goofy, weirdly inspired film, and it's a lot of fun.
You know, you saw this movie before me, and you told me that you thought it was pretty good. And I thought, now this is a case where we have had this running battle where you will find one element in a movie, I find sometimes, and then you say the movie is great, and I'm always complaining you're not being tough enough.
It's my great failing, right?
It's a great failing in life. Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay. You're not wrong this time. This is terrific.
Government agents, scientists, soldiers, master criminals, secret formulas, monsters and midgets. None of them belong in this swamp. Only one thing does. The Swamp Thing.
Here comes trouble.
The Swamp Thing.
There goes the neighborhood.
Adrienne Barbeau and the Swamp Thing, an outrageous pair in the incredible adventure that grows on you or all over you. The Adventures of the Swamp Thing. The comic book legend lives.